Okay, if you're a lot like me and you're interested in either buying a dash cam for yourself or as a gift, and you don't have like oodles of time to do a lot of research, you know, the best thing you can do is just go with a no-brainer option. Go with a reputable company like I did, which was Garmin. Garmin's all over the place. They're a huge company. They do everything from watches to marine radar, GPS units, and they have a fantastic line of dash cams. So I didn't want to research a lot. If you're a YouTuber and you do car content, you are bombarded with companies wanting you to try out their dash cam. And I don't even know half these companies, but when I got interested in dash cams, I reached out to Garmin. I said, hey, can I try out one of your dash cams? I'll do a review of it. I'll tell you how I like it. I'll give you some feedback. And they're like, sure, which one do you want? I chose this one right here. This is the X310. This is the top of the line of their lineup, coming in at around $300. They do have some cheaper ones that start in like $100 for like the X310. They're all really good. But I chose this one because it has two really cool features on it. It has something called Travelapse. It also has a polarizing filter if you're kind of wanting to make sure there's no glare in some of your footage. Now, before we dive into some of the details here, just some basic operations. Maybe you're new to dash cams. When this is on, or when the car is on, it's always recording. So it's always recording what I'm driving now. If there is something that I see that I want to make sure I save, like somebody doing something stupid, like this guy right here running a red light the other night, I just push a button here on the side. And what that does is it captures a separate file 30 seconds, 15 seconds before I push the button and 15 seconds after. So it's always recording. And the other thing, obviously, if the dash cam senses any sudden acceleration or deacceleration, it'll record that like it's a crash, right? It'll pick that up and again capture what was happening before and what happened after and during in a separate file. So that's just like dash cam 101 right out of the box. I got this working. Now, as far as mounting, everything comes in the box for mounting this more in a permanent fashion. There's a much smaller mount than this. There's a little adhesive. I would normally have this way up top here behind the mirror, and then you get like a boatload of wire to run behind your headliner down to your power source. I'm not using that because I've been switching this amongst a variety of cars that we've been reviewing over the last 6 or so months. So I have this suction cup mount. Highly recommend it if you are going to be switching it between cars. And also there is you can plug this into your USB, or there's a 12-volt adapter also. Now, if you want to power this sort of permanently, even when it's off, you can plug it into your OBD2 port. There's an adapter for that. Okay, now before we take a closer look, if you're interested in this one specifically or any other Garmin, I do have links down below if you wanna just go quickly over there and do that. But just taking a tour around this, you can see the two buttons on the side. Again, this is the one you're going to use just to capture things fast. This one will power it on if it's not plugged in, and also this will be your menu return, because this is a touchscreen. Just swipe to the right for all your menus, and I just press there and I go backwards. So that's nice. This screen will time out, but pretty nice touchscreen there. And also see on the bottom is where you will put your SD card. This does take the micro, and this one's 64 gigabytes. That's been fine. I've never had an issue with storage on here. A couple things about the files. The ones that you intentionally record, those are considered precious and it will always save them. Obviously, like any type of incidents that it automatically records, it will keep those. The everyday trips where it's always recording every time it's on, it will toss those once it starts running out of space, because it figures those may not be all that important. But again, I haven't had any issues with that with 64 gigabytes thus far. And then on the side, you see you have a USB-C power there. And again, that's where your little mount is for that guy, and then the camera on the front. So nice compact size there. So diving into those menus, the first one you have here is where you can find your saved videos. You can see from today. These are all the ones that I intentionally took, and then these temporary ones are where it's recording all of the drives, all of the on time. These are the ones that will get tossed eventually. So that's right there in that menu. if I go down to, whoops, let's go back over. If I go to the Drive, this is where I would connect up to the Garmin app. There is a very nice app if you want to move these files over, see them on your phone, use them, email them to folks. There's also a subscription service where it'll upload those automatically, but I haven't seen any need to do that. So the app hooks up pretty easily if you're interested in getting stuff over to your phone. There's a voice control. Haven't used it. Maybe you're interested in that. It's off right now. And then again, that favorite feature is this Travelapse. You just start it and it's always going. It'll always keep going until you stop. So it's really nice for longer trips. If you're just doing travel lapses between, the store and stuff, that's just going to be a big jumbled mess. But for longer trips, it's kind of fun if you like to capture your trips and maybe add some other video to that. But the big menu you'll dive into is right here is settings. Again, the camera, you can set it to different resolutions. I have it at 4K. That's what's nice about this. It is HDR. You can change the sensitivity for those accelerometers. Right now, the default is medium. You can also record audio, so what's happening in the car if you want to do that. I don't have any need to do that. If you do have a video, it'll lay down the date and the time, the location, and since this is a GPS unit, it'll also capture your speed. And then for those temporary videos, you can say delete them immediately or delete when the card is full. It's best to keep that there. Exposure if you want to overexpose or underexpose, and then the format of the card. On driver assistance, if you have an older car that doesn't have today's latest safety things, you can use this sort of as a makeshift, collision warning. It'll keep an eye on the car in front of you, and if it feels like you're going to hit that car or follow too close, it'll give you a warning. I can't speak to whether that's good or bad or accurate or not. It's just something to keep in mind. It is a nice little feature. It will also, if you go out of your lane, you can set it to give you a warning. I have that off because it doesn't know if you're intentionally switching lanes or wandering lanes, because it doesn't know if your signal is on or not. So again, some extra little features here. I think most dash cams have this kind of stuff. And then also it'll keep track of red light cameras. Since it is a GPS, it'll give you a warning there. I don't know why you'd want to do that. You're trying to be safe with a dash cam. If you do want to keep this on while the car is off, there's something called parking guard, where if it detects something like a smashing or a hit, it'll record that. But it's only on the front, so if it's something happening in the back, that's not going to help you. Wi-Fi, you can hook this up so that it'll exchange information with your phone, and then obviously some other menu options for display and volume. So yeah, really nice, easy to use menu system. Again, something I was looking for, just something that was easy to use, didn't have to get out a manual and figure out how to use this thing. Now, as far as overall video quality, it's pretty good. I mean, it's a dash cam. You're not looking for cinematic quality. In the daylight, of course, it looks great. The polarizing filter will keep the glare down from both the glass and hoods of the cars and other cars. At nighttime or in dark conditions, that same polarizing filter probably, I can't prove it, probably diminishes your video quality a little bit. Again, but it's a dash cam. You're not looking for incredible footage at night. It gets a little noisy, a little grainy, even in some dim conditions. So anyway, there you go. That's the Garmin X310. Easy to use. Again, I've been using it for about 6 months now. Absolutely no issues. Hot weather, cold weather, plugs up, moves amongst the cars with this handy dandy suction cup mount right here. So yeah, I'll leave a link to all of this information down below. Again, if you're looking for a gift or don't feel like doing a lot of research on dash cams, the Garmin is kind of a no-brainer. Thanks for watching today. Leave any questions you have about dash cams in general. I'll try to answer them. I'm not a dash cam expert, but I do happen to like this one. And any comments or any suggestions you might also have. Thanks for watching today, and have a great day, morning or evening, wherever you may be.